Yo. down and listen to something new to listen to real quick.
APR, or up to $1,500 bonus cash on the Palisade, or lease for only $349 a month. 2024 is shaping up to be a rather shocking year. Now, I'm not going to lean into the shocking and stunning, but what I am here is to present some data, some data and numbers and facts and figures. So I want to start off this with just this number that I saw. There have been 42,000 tech layoffs so far in America in 2024, and it's only just March 1st at the date of recording. So in 2 months, we've had 42,000 layoffs. Now, somewhere in the numbers, I saw that there was something like 190,000 jobs lost last year in the tech space. And so the question is like, okay, well, why is this happening? One of the things that companies have said, oh, well, we accidentally hired too many people during the pandemic. And that may or may not be true. There's a lot of criticism of remote work and those sorts of things. And of course, there was also payroll protection programs. So maybe they deliberately overhired to get some government funding and now they're laying people off. But as I have been talking about for a long time, it's primarily due to AI. So headcount reduction is the name of the game. Humans are expensive to employ. It takes 6 months for a human employee to come up to speed. They require benefits. They might sue you. And if you do lay them off, then there's all sorts of requirements in terms of giving them benefits and severance and those sorts of things. And so the best employee is no employee. And this is borrowing from Elon Musk's the best part is no part principle. And so what we're going to see is we're entering into a new era of employment and labor markets where the best employee is no employee. So you might have heard Sam Altman, I think it was a tweet or an interview, where he said that he anticipates in the next few years you're going to see the first billion-dollar unicorn company with no employees and only a founder or a co-founder, basically a pair of guys or one guy making all the software and all the platforms just with AI. Now, the flip side of that is no employees. And so some people out on the internet are saying, CEOs are the first to go, CEOs are the last to go. I think it's going to be a little bit of both. In many cases, AI can probably run companies better than CEOs, certainly than some human CEOs that I've known in my time. But in other cases, CEOs are going to be the only employee, and it's going to be the sole proprietor. And so this article from Fortune talks about how AI is like corporate Ozempic. It trims the fat and you keep the fact that you're using it a secret. Now, this is something that I've been saying as well for a while, so I'm good to see that there's someone who's more of a market insider and more of a kind of an expert in the field. And so people have asked me, like, what's the paradigm here? What's the trend? And if you remember during the pandemic and even before, during the 2008 recession, there's kind of this pattern that happens, and it's deny, deny, deny. So first you deny that anything is happening. And then it's downplay, downplay, downplay. You say it's not that bad. And then once people say, okay, it is happening, it is that bad, you say distract, distract, distract. You use misdirection. And then finally you say, well, it's here to say, and maybe it's actually a good thing. And so there's this kind of 4-phase cycle that happens whenever there's any major change out there. And this stuff has been well documented. Edward Bernays, the godfather of propaganda. He started this back in the 30s. He was the nephew of Sigmund Freud, and then of course Noam Chomsky and others have written extensively about this, necessary illusions and manufacturing consent. So this is the way the game is played, and it's rather formulaic. And so if you ever watch like a politician or a CEO or whatever, when someone asks about AI layoffs and they just change the subject, that's the smoke and mirrors, like pay no attention to the man behind the curtains. So AI is coming, AI is causing layoffs, it's causing headcount reduction. Now in many cases it's not necessarily going to be AI is going to come and do your job specifically, it's going to do parts of your job, it's going to streamline and operationalize it. And so a really good example of this was the replacement of telephone operators. It wasn't that we needed a robot to come and do the exact job of a telephone operator. It was actually a bunch of technologies that just subverted even the need for a telephone operator. And so what we're seeing out there in the job space is that the need for your job just goes away and you get the legs cut out from underneath you, because all the functions of your job are either completely supplanted by new platforms or new services that the company can sign up for. So that's really what's happening, and that's what's coming down the pipeline, and the numbers are starting to back it up. Now, many of you will ask, okay, so what do we do about this? I've been beating the drum on post-labor economics, which is basically we need to come up with not just an evolution of the current paradigms, because this replacement of labor is fundamentally paradigm breaking. And what I mean by that is the current paradigm basically says you need to have a job. The entire economy runs on consumer demand and labor markets and free market theory about, capital goods and services, and then consumers and workplaces and those sorts of things. But if we are all going to be losing our jobs, or even if most people lose their jobs, even if only we end up with 30% unemployment, the current paradigm cannot bear that. So if we end up anywhere between 20% and 80% or 100% unemployment, the current paradigm fails. Now, this article popped up, and I don't know how much legs this has, because it's kind of a backwater, a smaller periodical. But it was really kind of alarming when I saw this come across my radar. The billionaire-fueled lobbying group behind the state bills to ban basic income experiments. So there are some activist billionaires out there basically wanting to say, hey, we don't want anyone to even try UBI experiments. And one of the reasons that they give is basically that if you do this, you disincentivize work. You disincentivize people from innovating, from taking, entrepreneurial leaps, and you also upend the labor market. Now, that is all true. If you give people enough money to be comfortable, I think someone said, was it universal generous income or whatever? Like UGI is kind of what some people are talking about. If you remove the need for people to work, yes, a lot of people will check out of the economy permanently, except for their consumer demand. Consumer demand will always drive the economy. I talked about this in several other videos where I talked about all humans have basic needs: food, housing, clothing, entertainment, and our intrinsic desire for those needs can still run the economy. Consumer demand is relatively permanent. However, this is an example of the old paradigm trying to reassert itself. This is something that I've predicted, where the old guard will double down on the status quo and do everything that they can to maintain the current status quo at all costs, including inflicting pain on a lot of people, because, again, billionaires and politicians are insulated from the lived experience of people having to work 2 and 3 jobs in order to make ends meet. Now, speaking of billionaires, you might have heard that Mark Zuckerberg has a $100 million compound on Hawaii, and actually, reading this article, given the land cost, the total cost of his compound is expected to be somewhere north of $270 million. But it also includes a 5,000 square foot bunker, complete with food supplies and internal power. So why is one of the world's richest tech billionaires, who's leading the charge of artificial general intelligence, building a bunker on an island in the middle of the Pacific? Now, it could just be a boyhood fantasy. It could be that he's hedging his bets, but it is a little bit, let's just say, unsettling. And he's also not the only billionaire prepper. Sam Altman has a prepper ranch somewhere in the Midwest, I think, where he's got stockpiles of guns and food and ammo. I'm sure Elon Musk has a bailout strategy as well. But anyways, so I wanted to point this out before winding down this video. So on the topic of Mark Zuckerberg and Meta and Facebook and all that, I did mention that Mark Zuckerberg is talking about how AGI is going to be open source. And so this is something that I have advocated for a lot, is that AGI should be open source. And in fact, I ran a poll just yesterday where most of you are in agreement that AGI, or maybe it was a few days ago. Anyways, AGI should be open source. And Mark Zuckerberg actually explained on this call, I actually listened to some of it, where he explained in very clear terms that they're not an AI provider, not in the same way that OpenAI and Microsoft and Google are positioning themselves to be, but rather AI is just part of their portfolio of products. So whether it's the metaverse or whatever else, or gaming, those sorts of things, AI is just going to augment the products that they have, and so they don't really care. AI is just a utility, and open source AI will make that cheaper for them. And it will also make their products better and safer. That's, of course, what he's arguing. Now, as a tech billionaire, take it with a grain of salt as to what his actual motives are. But he does have some good points, and I do happen to agree with at least the words that he's saying, if not, whatever hidden agendas that he has, is that open source is structurally one of the biggest things that we can do to ensure that AI is, one, democratically accessible, and also safe, because then it can be scrutinized by everyone. And it's not just the models that should be open source, it's also the data sets used to train these models should also be open source. Now, obviously, in the paradigm that we have today where there's private property and property rights, there will always be some closed source, and there will probably also always be some open source. So the landscape is going to be a hybrid landscape of a little bit of both. Now, what's the optimal? I don't know what the optimal is. And of course, as some people will say, well, you wouldn't open source the plans to make nuclear weapons, you wouldn't open source the plans to make a global plague. That is also true, but as we stage the release of these AI technologies, you can also use fire to fight fire. And so what I mean by that is you are going to have AGI-enabled firewalls, we're going to have AGI-enabled data center security, we're going to have AGI-enabled whatever, antivirus. And so it's going to be a natural escalation in the technology space, but this is nothing new. I've talked to some cybersecurity experts, both in my Patreon and in other places, and they say, yeah, it's going to change some things, it's not going to change others. The fundamental, so one interesting thing that I learned is that yes, AI can help write viruses, but the fundamental science around computer viruses, they don't really expect it to change that much. At least not yet. Of course, time will tell. It could be that we learn something new, especially with Q-Star and quantum computing and that sort of thing. But in the meantime, it is good that there is at least one tech billionaire who is on the side of open source, and I hope that there are more that will join in terms of this conversation. Because if you remember last year, all of the congressional hearings where Mark Zuckerberg and Sam Altman and others were dragged in front of Congress, Mark Zuckerberg was the only one who said open source is the way. Whether it was IBM or Microsoft or Google, they're just no, we want to keep it closed source. But again, this has to do with profit motive. Meta is not an AI company. Google, Microsoft, and OpenAI and IBM, they are kind of more of the raw compute place. And you also see Microsoft and NVIDIA hedging their bets with open source models anyways. So, I mean, a lot of these companies, they're kind of playing the field and seeing where it's going to go. Anyways, I thought this was interesting information, and there's a little bit of data to kind of back up some of the stuff that I've been saying. So thanks for watching. I hope you got a lot out of this. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. Cheers.
Kayak compares both rental cars and car sharing sites to find you a rental car. Download the Kayak app now.
No way. I didn't even open it. I just broke the top of it off.
The point is if someone's younger or someone's changing careers, jump on this wave, right?
That was easier.
There's no downside,
as
far as I can tell, right? Because normally you might imagine there's a downside, but what if this technology goes kaput? With AI, I think we can kind of rule out the idea that it's going away.
Yeah.
Right? Because it just keeps getting better, and also it solves so many problems. Even if it didn't get better, it's still super useful for solving problems as part of other pipelines and things like this. An understanding of AI that you get in 2024 is going to last you a lifetime, because I just can't see how it would go away. It will look very different in a few years, but you'll be able to build on that knowledge.
Joe Rogan discusses Middle Eastern politics with Kid Rock. How is it that meathead UFC commentator Joe Rogan speaks with more diplomacy and common sense than ice cream licking, aviator wearing, basket case President of the United States Joe Biden? Hello there, you awakened wonders. Thanks for joining us on this voyage to truth and freedom. Remember, you can support our content by clicking the link in the description where we make additional content every week, and you can join us for important conversations with people like Bobby Kennedy and Rand Paul and Vandana Shiva, and I'll put your questions directly to them. Okay, so today, Joe Rogan and Kid Rock discussing the Middle East, and there's a point where in the haughty world of mainstream media, it's like, oh, who cares? Kid Rock, that sort of white rapper fella, and Joe Rogan, the podcaster, who cares what either of them think? But one of the things that new media has exposed is that people like Joe Rogan have as much right to discuss political issues as people like Anthony Blinken. I mean, have you seen that guy's perspectives? Or Nancy Pelosi just pulling conspiracy theories out of the air and saying them on television? And Jen Psaki, former government messaging person, now MSNBC host, just sort of going, yeah, tell us some more things that you think off the top of your head, Nancy.
What do you think? We're all wondering this question, Speaker Pelosi. What do you think
think Putin has on him?
There's probably either something financially has on him or something on the come.
Never going, hold on a minute. Have you got any proof that there's a financial relationship between Trump and Putin? I mean, haven't we already done this? Will you please stop saying stuff like, how come you've got so much money? Where the bloody hell did you get it from? Now, a conversation between Kid Rock and Joe Rogan. I don't know much about Kid Rock, as a matter of fact, except he's pretty intense. You know, we all saw how he reacted to Budweiser Light employing a, trans person or whatever. He shot up the cans, didn't he? He's a man who shoots from the hip as part of his general method of communication. So on the subject of Middle East, it's hardly surprising that some of his perspectives were, in my view, kind of a little harsh. I mean, he referenced Nagasaki and Hiroshima as sort of positive outcomes at one point, which I found difficult, having sort of watched those things. Look, Kid Rock, just watch Oppenheimer. That wasn't good, was it? Yes, it was. It wasn't. It was bad, I think, Kid Rock. Okay, but what's perhaps interesting is that Joe Rogan is a person that the left or the liberal establishment, or let's call it the Democrat Party, sort of sneer about and ridicule on mainstream television. But he's the sort of star or celebrity or whatever you want to call it that would, you'd think, be valuable if what you cared about was an anti-war perspective, individual freedom and sovereignty, tolerance for a variety of views, and being diplomatic about a difficult situation, and actually calling the situation in the Middle East what many people believe it is, a war crime. Let's have a look.
If you lived in Gaza, you would be convinced that it's the end of the world.
Take a look at that strap. Kid Rock endorses Israel killing civilians. I mean, like, this can't go on indefinitely, can it? Like, this cultural moment. What's going on at the moment? Well, Kid Rock's endorsing Israel killing civilians. And anything else? No! Isn't that enough?
Right? Because it is the end of the world in one place. In that spot, it's the end of the world. But where you are, it's not. And you got to look at it that way.
Joe Rogan's actually clearly a really reflective person, saying like the apocalypse spreads like a fog. Some people's apocalypse has already happened, and it's difficult not to imagine that were you an occupant of Gaza living amidst the endless hail of bombs, that indeed it is Armageddon, particularly as it's taking place under the auspices of territorial and religious differences. I mean, I don't really know that there's a more accurate definition of Armageddon available for us, except for, I don't know, that Bruce Willis film. It doesn't seem like an appropriate thing to mention. Kid Rock will probably use it as a reference in a minute, because Kid Rock has got some, what seems to me, pretty, I mean, he seems pretty confident in his perspective, let's say. I mean, we're rude about Kid Rock, because perhaps one day I'll meet Kid Rock and I don't want him to shoot me.
And when I look at it that way, I'm like,
the only wars we won were fucking ones we were the most brutal motherfuckers on the planet.
Already, you're getting the idea that Kid Rock's got some strong views. Now, like, I know that there are people in our streams, in our comments, that seem to have similarly, let's call them aggressive perspectives, but I'm pretty certain myself that there will be no resolution in that direction. Like, even when you look at what appears, at least through the lens of history and the propaganda that we read, to have been a sort of cut and dry black and white victory, the victory over Nazism, and anyone would surely agree that Nazism, as most people understand it, was bad. I can't help but ask questions like, Project Paperclip, the number of Nazi scientists that ended up working in the United States. I mean, even something black and white like that, or, Churchill, one of the greatest, often it's argued the greatest ever Englishman, participated in the annihilation of the people of Dresden. There's so many questions. In a sense, if you're looking for not even utopia, but meaningful, reasonable progress, you don't look back to the Second World War as a sort of golden age. It was a fucking nightmare.
Which I don't disagree with what Israel's doing. It's like,
it's so extraordinary to feel that we're not collectively, with our human capacities, looking for an alternative to what's happening in Gaza, and that there are people that feel that that is the best possible outcome, and indeed will argue vociferously for it, as Kid Rock is doing, as many pundits will do. But I think most of us, if exposed to the atrocities, one time Max Blumenthal came on the show and recounted a story about a 15-year-old Palestinian girl dying in a car, and they have the recording of her first responder phone call, and it just sounds like, well, yeah, well, how much lower can we go as a species? What's left for us?
They should just go in there and be like, you know what? We want our hostages back. If we don't have them back, clock starts now in fucking 24 hours. We're going to start bombing motherfuckers and killing fucking civilians. 30, 40,000 a fucking time.
I suppose what Kid Rock could serve as is to liberals the introduction that Trump is not as far as it's possible to go. Trump now looks like Jimmy Carter, and Joe Rogan looks like James Baldwin.
So you civilians better fucking pack up and fucking get these fucking motherfuckers and you go against Hamas. You fucking go against them. We're not playing fucking games with you. That's the only thing people understand. This is what happened in Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Boom! Swiped out. They're like, oh.
I would have liked the cutaway of Joe Rogan at the Nagasaki Hiroshima moment, because what Joe Rogan subsequently says is an indication that he found that a difficult image to deal with.
Yes, we don't have Supreme Leader anymore. We did not know you had such big bombs.
Yeah, but everybody has big bombs now.
We can't bring you this content without the support of our partners, and in this instance, it's a very appropriate partner because you're an awakened wonder, and you know that there's every possibility that your communications are being spied on. People are listening in on your private conversations. I say people, I mean government agencies and government-funded private agencies that are used as proxies to crush dissent. You've been watching this show for a while. You know that these Orwellian authorities, although Orwell, that we trust to keep our data and our conversations gain on monetary benefit with permission. Excellent. You know it, and I know it. Do it.
The problem is you use a big bomb. You set a precedent that they can use a big bomb.
They don't have one.
Well, they don't, but they're allies too.
Then we
That's
bomb
the real
fuck
problem.
out of them. Someone's going to learn.
Yeah, but
You gotta get your ass beat hard enough.
You can't just nuclear bomb people.
Look at Joe Rogan, sort of, he's looking up in the air and everything. He's sort of a very beautiful person. Like, he's sort of patient and tolerant, and you can't just nuclear bomb people. Someone's gonna fucking learn. The problem with legacy media is they think that Joe Rogan is Kid Rock. But look at Joe Rogan and look at Kid Rock. Joe Rogan is clearly a kind of, this is not good, is it? This situation in the Middle East. And his impact speaks for itself. The net impact of Joe Rogan is positive, isn't it? That's like someone who's inviting people that wouldn't listen to. They're not listening to Rachel Maddow, the people that listen to this, and they're hearing, yeah, you can't just nuclear bomb people. Yeah, that's why the landscape's changing, actually. That's why Republicans aren't the de facto default party of war, because libertarianism, individualism, and whatever sort of new emergent ideologies are coming out of this new technological space are more sensitive to really important issues like war. And war is becoming, obviously, a defining issue because it's pervasive and unending.
I didn't say
Did
nuke 'em.
nuclear bomb you back.
No, I didn't say
Okay, you
nuke
said
'em.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I thought you meant it like
No,
that.
no.
Because you did seem to say Hiroshima and Nagasaki were good things rather than what most people think, that they were quite bad things.
I was saying that just the brute force of strength used in those
Yeah, but
conflicts.
even a conventional bombing campaign, if you want to do that somewhere, they can do that to your place. And this is what we have to
Fuck
avoid.
around and find out.
Yeah, because Kid Rock actually has continual recourse to the kind of militarism that I'm sure many people will be dismissive of in the form of a cultural figure like Kid Rock, but it's actually policy in a lot of courses. Like Lindsey Graham, that's what he's saying. Joe Biden, that's what he's saying. Or I mean, at best, oh, this is unfortunate what's going on in the Middle East. No one is as enlightened as Joe Rogan, just looking off into the distance. Like, where does this end? How does this benefit all of us? And Joe Rogan is a continually maligned, several occasions broadly attacked figure of, in some spaces, and they are relevant spaces, figure of ridicule. And I would sort of invite those people that sort of like have him portrayed on SNL in the manner he was, or throughout CNN's coverage of the ivermectin stuff. What do you do with that? You don't want that introduced into the mainstream. Is that something you want to cut off? Like MAGA,
We're getting close to the end of this one, you know?
Challenging that Hiroshima and Nagasaki were good.
Had to take a break in between to do that commission, but commission is finished. And so, yeah, back on this. I feel like I would have been finished if I didn't take that 2-week break. Well, not a break because I was active, but, you know, I had to pause on this to do that for a couple weeks. But, I think I may be able to finish this between this weekend and next week, depending on how my week goes. But definitely between this weekend and next weekend, this piece should be done. I have one other canvas that's already prepped with an underpainting. So I'll start. I need to start another 1 or 2 canvases and at least get some sketches and some underpaintings done before I go back to detailing any more new art. So I'll try to get prepared for that in the next upcoming days. Oh, that's in Tennessee. It's going to be at the University of Tennessee. in Knoxville. And today is the opening night for the show, which is pretty dope. I wish I could be there in person, but it's just the first of the year, and I don't have a lot of vacation time yet. And I'm taking a trip in a couple of weeks for my family reunion, and so I just don't have the time or the energy, really, or the finances to just, go to Knoxville for a day or two. Just to, I would love to see it in person like tonight, but it's a 9-hour drive. That's a long drive. If I buy a plane ticket, that's a couple $100, and then I gotta rent a hotel, and then rent a car, and it's just like, if it was a little different, if I was a little bit taller, if I was a baller, if I had a girl who looked good, I would call her. If I had a way to get to the art show, I wouldn't even bother. It just seems like an expensive trip right now. But I'm really, really good friends with the person who's curating the show, and so she'll definitely send me like some videos and pictures, and if whatever kind of comments and compliments may happen to come about, she'll normally fill me in, which is always cool. At least I can do that. But yeah, being there in person would have been super dope. Tennessee, take me to another place, take me to another, help me understand your plan. Yeah, so it was a part of a show a couple of years ago, actually, that was at East Tennessee State University. And after that show, I put 3 pieces in that show, and the curator, when the show was over, it was so popular that another university wanted to house the show, and the curator said, hey, can we keep the show going, because other people want it? And I was like, yeah. But I had 3 pieces of art in the show. She said, well, the next venue is going to be a little smaller, so they're not going to be able to house the entire show. So we're going to send you 2 of your paintings back, and we're going to keep 1. I'm like, that's great. And so that show went on tour for about almost 2 years. And they just sent me back the painting that they had like a couple weeks ago. But like a few months ago, the curator reached out to me and said, hey, we may do like a different version of the same show. We're going to send you back the painting that we have, and can you send us one of the other paintings that you put in the show? And I'm like, yeah, if you're going to pay for all the shipping and stuff. So they just requested a different piece for this show right here. And so I shipped that off last week or the week before last. I sent it down there, and yeah, today is the opening show. So it was, I like it. I'm just happy that the artwork is popular. It's getting seen on campuses with a high African American attendance rate. So this is dope. This shit. Do I wish I was there in person? Hell yeah. But just the simple fact of knowing the situation and everything around the shows, like I know it's in a really good spot. So, and I'm sure that people will like gravitate towards that piece. So enjoy Tennessee. Enjoy, motherfucker. Because when I make it big and I start making them millions, I'm never missing the show. I don't give a fuck if that shit in Italy, Montreal, or goddamn San Francisco, wherever that shit at. I'm gonna be there. If that bitch in Tennessee, I'm going. I'm gonna goddamn be there. Well, we got one show in Seattle, and we got one show in Denver. Well, book the tickets, cause I'm not missing either one. Just book the tickets. You know what I'm saying? That's how we gonna do it. That's what I was gonna ask the curator as well, because you know you had it at the show, and the last time it was kind of like the feature piece because it was on the brochure and you know the advertisements and everything, and so it got a lot of shine like that. And then when the main guest speaker came to do her part, like you put that painting on the stage with her, and it was just like, yo, and then you're requesting it to come back, like, don't you just want to keep it? Don't the university just want to keep that, John? Just send me the check. Y'all ain't even look, man. Y'all ain't even gotta ship it back. All the shipping and all of this, y'all, but man, y'all halfway to paying for that shit, man. Y'all might as well just keep it, bro. Send me the check. You know what I'm saying? Write that up. And then you know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't gotta keep asking to borrow that thing. Y'all ain't gotta keep asking to borrow that thing. Yeah, somebody might as well just, y'all might as well just go ahead and take that one off my hands. You know what I'm saying? You might go ahead and leap and make that commitment. Keep it on campus. If I can get a few universities picking up on my John, that might, you know what I'm saying, that might be the that might be the way in there, you know, through the university. Alright, I think I'm already been here for about an hour. It's 4:30. might get out of here early. As in teacher. My bad. I'm missing the comments. Yeah, man, we getting close, man. We're getting close. Who's this? Oh, KO52892. I don't know who that is. Yo, Ken, what's good? Okay. My man, my man. Oh, I'm sorry. That man say he got classes and shit. I've been busy, you know what I'm saying? People got shit to do, man. I feel you. It be like that, bro. Life be lifing, you know? And when that shit happen, you motherfucking sometimes you gotta bob and weave and shit. Sometimes you gotta tuck and roll, motherfucker. Cause that shit gonna knock you down. It gonna get you. It gonna get the best of everybody every once in a while. If life ain't never beat you up, you was a lucky motherfucker. You super lucky. Motherfucker be on them feet. You know what I'm saying? Goddamn with the goddamn Sugarfoot. Bobbing and weaving, man. Bobbing and weaving. Keep your head going. Don't stand still, boy, because life again. Don't stand still too long. Keep moving, well. Keep moving. You always gotta be like that. I said when that shit get real hard, tuck and roll, motherfucker. Tuck and roll.
Yo, what's going on?
Yo, good afternoon, bro.
How's it going?
Chilling.
You too.
Yes, sir, man. Chilling, bro. I can't complain.
That's good. Good to hear. But you're right, man. When things happen, you know, you just gotta roll with the punches. You gotta roll with it, so to speak. You know, just keep on keeping on. Right?
Yeah.
Like everyone else.
Yeah. Okay, it ain't gonna stop, so.
Yeah, that's so true, man. Yeah, absolutely. But yo, thanks for letting me come on the live video. So, just wanted to say I think your artwork is amazing. Whoever's watching this or tuning in right now, just as a quick little blurb about how I was introduced to Travis Prince's art. So I used to work as a technician for Comcast, and one day I got a service call, and I went to his house. Unbeknownst to me, I opened the door, and this guy's got he's got his own gallery in his house, right? So I was like floored. I was blown away. Whatever adjective you want to put there, whatever to describe my the array of different things that I saw and the feelings I was feeling at the time was amazing. So, we basically just exchanged contact information. I told him that I was an artist also, and mainly do like fantasy illustration, some graphic novels, comic book design I'm working on right now, like the background while I'm trying to juggle school and working, a few different jobs. So it's been good, but and recently I've been actually, and this is sort of like my newfound hobby, or actually a business venture, if you will. I've been designing my own custom hats, so like custom tailored hats. So I have one on right now. Actually, I'm actually going to kind of move in the light so you can see it a little bit better here, but in a more lighted area. But this is like one of the hats.
Yo, what's that, like oak leaves or what is that?
It's actually so the idea was a Japanese themed hat. So basically, like, I'll flip the camera around so you can see it a little bit easier.
A Japanese maple?
It's supposed to be actually like hydrangeas. Like, it's a Japanese flower.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like all in here is you can see, like, it's supposed to be kind of like the drop shadow in the back. And then these are the individual leaves, and these are like the actual, I guess these are actually like flower petals. They're supposed to be flower petals. It kind of looks like berries a little bit almost. But yeah, so what I did is, like, I went to my local craft store, actually the Hobby Lobby here. It's in Wilkes-Barre, and I saw that they had these different, colored hats. There was like white, pink, tan, red, and in this case, so I was like, as soon as I saw it, I thought to myself, I'm like, you know what, Japanese style hat. I was like, we got to go for that one. We're gonna try that out. Because and instantly in my mind, I thought, like, what would be kind of cool to put on this hat, like an all-red hat? And that's what came in my head. I'm thinking about like Japanese woodcuts, and, you've ever seen those before. Those are pretty cool. And
yeah.
Usually they take, like, ink blots and they put it on it, and you can even make, like, negatives. Like, we did that when I was, like, a long time ago. I was in, like, my high school art class, and we took, like, these little rubber mats, basically, is what they were, and you could cut, like, yeah, so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Take the roller,
put the cutting tools out,
and then roll the ink on it.
And you make the design in it, like, you draw with, like, the marker, and you cut it out. Yeah, so Charles knows exactly what I'm talking about. So basically, I was thinking about that too, like, as I was designing this. But yeah, so this is the work I'm doing right now. I'm actually working on trying to form a business out of it. So, it would basically be like anyone who would want, a custom hat done.
Bro, wait a minute. Wait, whoa. That's hand painted?
Yeah, this is all hand painted.
What the fuck, son? Yo.
Yeah,
how much you selling those for? Bro, that's like a $120 hat, man.
Yeah, that's what I wanted. I wanted to sell them for, definitely a higher cost. Because, like, to be honest with you, first starting out, what I did is I used fabric markers, right? And I put it all on here. And then, because what happens when you use the fabric markers, basically, it sets into the hat. So then the fabric marker is designated so that way, like, you wash it one time, and then it doesn't come out of the hat. But then after that, it sets. That's why you do that. You wash it.
Oh, damn. My man froze up a little bit.
Power off, things popped up. Okay, but yeah, so anyway, you basically, like, do that once, and then, it sets the color. But when I originally did this, it was a little bit light, and it was all black. Like, it was just black on red.
Mm-hmm.
But when you looked at it, you couldn't really see it unless you got up real close. Like, the Oni mask, like, didn't have the highlights on it. It was just black. And then what I did, I realized it's like, okay, it just looked like, if you look in the very background of the dragon, like, that black, that's how it looked on the red. Like, it kind of just soaked into it.
Oh,
with all the black designs of everything. So what I ended up doing was, I was like, all right, it looks a little bit too blended into the actual fabric of the hat. So I took, this is like acrylic paint markers, which are also, like, water resistant as well. So, and then I just did highlights all on, like, the leaves here, as you can see, like, and then goes around, and there's, like, a Japanese woman on the side with the highlights in the hair. But then it also this is just like a Japanese pattern that I found online, like, looking at some other Japanese work. But then as you go around, as you can see, I push this out, like, that's the dragon, Japanese dragon. But yeah, all hand done. And then that's the main squeeze about this with the business is you're gonna get, like, a really nice, custom, like, unique and stylish looking hat. Like, and so I wanna basically, I have some business cards being created right now. I have a website that I'm working on building up right now. Right now, I just have so I have a business Instagram. It's a KO's hat, custom hat designs. So if anyone was interested to see what other designs that I created, they can go on there. But yeah, so that's the newfound thing, man. I'm super excited about it.
Yo.
And I just appreciate letting me come on and talk to you about that this newfound business idea and also a platform. I appreciate it allowing me to come on video and talk more about it.
Oh, no.
Just trying to kind of spread the word out to any of our my friends that are in art and dealing with art business and everything like that, or people that might be interested.
So you say the idea came to you when you saw the hat. You weren't planning on designing the hat until you actually saw the colored hats at the craft store.
Well, so you know what? So yeah, the idea came to me actually because I'm a big Marvel guy. I love Marvel characters, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Spider-Man. Saga, Doctor Strange. All the things dealing with Marvel. I've been since a long time. I've seen a lot of the movies and maybe not some of the newest ones, but I'm pretty big into it. Otherwise, I got a Marvel encyclopedia. Anyway, so the one day I was working and I started thinking about the character Silver Surfer and his ideology, how he was born, if you will, and him with Galactus and him going through space, and that's one of my favorite Marvel characters. Mm-hmm. So what I ended up doing is I thought, wouldn't it be so cool? I wanted to create an homage to him in some way, in an artistic way, and creative way. So I thought, wouldn't it be cool to have a hat with him on the hat? So that was the idea that I had in my mind, and that's what born this as a potential business venture. So I'll show you that hat too. That's the first hat that I did, but that's what brought me to the craft store in the first place.
Yeah, that was my next question. Is
a stark white hat is a canvas, right? Just as artists, we have a canvas of paint to paint on, or a canvas.
Oh, we buffering again. It's all good. We're gonna wait a second. Homie gonna come back. Bro, that's hella wild, bro. It said that I got booted. It told me, it said there's something I was listening to was copywritten, and it ended my video. I wasn't even looking, I'm listening to you talking, I was yeah, quiet, and I was what the fuck? And it was whatever content you're listening to is copywritten, and we're gonna end your live stream. I'm bro, we weren't even listening to nothing just now. We weren't even listening to anything for 5 minutes. So it took you 5 minutes to catch back up with the Russell Brand interview that I was listening to? Man, you can't listen to nothing on here no more. Yeah, that's crazy. It was just, I don't know. We weren't even, like I said, we weren't even listening to anything. We were just chatting. And that shit kicked me out. I was goddamn. And I wasn't even talking. Yo, I wasn't even saying shit. I ain't do nothing. I ain't even say nothing. That shit was nah, you good. Get out of here. Hey man, I'm just saying the algorithm be hating. The algorithm gonna hate on me and anybody I associate with, yo. So watch out, man. Guilty by association. Guilty by association. Cause the algorithm don't be liking me sometimes. That shit just be treating me like a redheaded stepchild. You know? I be feeling some type of way. You gonna come back? You gonna jump back in, bro? Did I? I thought I hit it. I thought I had hit accept. My bad. But then this shit, yeah, it be acting weird. I hit accept the first time too. I know I did, bro. This shit don't want us to talk.
People on video anymore. Yeah, forget him. It's okay. Yeah, no, that's crazy though. Like, what were you like listening to? They said it was copyright.
Bro, this is the last thing I was listening to. Russell Brand.
Oh wow.
So and most of his stuff, he don't care if people share his content.
Yeah, like.
So
Definitely one of those types of guys. Like he's just like it's like freeform or
exactly
whatever you want to call it.
Exactly. So I'm listening to that and they
just
booted me.
Or like creative license, if you will. But yeah, so hey, sharing's caring, you know.
Yeah. So where's the Silver Surfer cap at?
Oh yeah, so here we go. So yeah, this is the one right here. So this is what I started. This is the one I started out with.
Okay, I like that.
So yeah, like I referenced the comic book cover for this one. You know, and I just wanted to make sure to mainly to just get the anatomy, like the perspective and the anatomy right on it. And I loved like the way that, you know, the comic book cover, they looked like how he was like foreshortened.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up choosing this color palette just so that way, because traditionally, you know, when I would create my characters, and this just kind of goes into design too. But you know, with like character design, you can either do like comic book stylized, where it's like black and white, like on the black on the outlines of everything, it's like hard black outlines, which you see in a lot of comic books. But like in this particular one, there was no black line, so I really liked that. So I stuck with that, and so I just used, you know, different hues of blue here. And then, like, since he's like got it, you know, since he's got the sheen going on, and then he's like traveling through space, there's like little bits of orange as well that would kind of be like reflective and refractive light that's bouncing on him and things like that. But yeah, man. So this is where it started from, and like I said, I just wanted to make my own version of like a tribute to the character, and then I just like added in everything with you know, the nebulas in space, and you know, and that's basically what it looks like on the rest of the hat. And then there's like some what's supposed to be like little sort of like comets or like little asteroids here, and you know, just kind of like that's how the back of the hat looks there. It just kind of goes around, and yeah, I sort of got a little silly over here on this side, as you can see, but you know, that's just supposed to be some gaseous, you know, gases in space or whatnot, like. These nebulas are basically big gas clouds of stars. But yeah, man. So I really was happy with like how it came out in regard to the color too. You know, because I was, you know, choosing different hues of blue, and you know, in space there's a lot of hues of blue and purple, and you know, in some areas like some really orange colors of, you know, hotter suns or stars or whatnot. But yeah, so.